Good evening and welcome to another round of the Korea Racing League F1 2021 Season 2. We are racing around round 5 this week, and it will be a race around Spain. A lot of people don't entirely like this track for various reasons, including some very interesting elevation changes, some corners that make no sense whatsoever and seem to be designed to throw you off the track, and some track limits that are incredibly difficult to keep to. So from last week, they were racing around Portimao, another track that has a lot of interesting elevation and very interesting corners, and we had quite an event-filled race. As far as quali is concerned, we had a fastest time of 1:16.693 by IMTJ, another top of the timetable for him. Humid in second place, 128 thousandths back, and then Venom in third, 212 thousandths back. In fourth place, we had Sebi, but unfortunately, he won't be joining us going forward. His connection, unfortunately, caused many incidents in the last couple of races, and what we have been seeing is that has been quite consistent. So, unfortunately, he's not going to be able to join us going forward. So, beyond that, as far as the race was concerned, we had 3 DNFs, D2A1, Mellow, and the Dark Fox. DNF'd. Dark Fox struggling right out the back, only 4 laps in before his DNF. Mello getting 16 laps in. D2A1 ending up almost halfway through when he ended up DNFing. Deadpool actually did finish 2 laps behind, and Jarvis DNF'd as well, but that was close enough to the end of the race that he still got classified. Botti in 6th place, IMTJ 5th, Sebi in 4th place, Venom taking the 3rd step of the podium, 18.9 seconds behind, Moz in 2nd place, 17.245 seconds behind, and Humid in 1st, having a pretty good run on a one-stop strategy. Moz got the driver of the day there, and Jarvis actually managed to bag the fastest lap before he DNF'd. As far as the longest stints were concerned, Potty definitely had the longest stint there, an average lap time of 1:20.891 on the mediums, 24 laps old. Humid and Mars managed to take their pit stop at the same time. Both pitted onto mediums. 22 laps later, they managed to finish the race. So a good run on those mediums, and a good mission to make that one stop work. As far as fastest laps are concerned, obviously Jarvis took the top honors with a 1:18.552 on lap 23. IMTJ got 3 attempts at a fastest lap on the medium tire as well, so a slightly slower tire, was not far off Jarvis's time, but unfortunately just not quite quick enough. Pure race pace, as I said before, this is an analysis of the fastest sectors of each lap. The F1 2021 game doesn't give us mini sectors, unfortunately, but it does give us the sectors themselves, and this analysis actually puts the sectors together, and that will then allow work it all out from there. Just checking what's happening. It looks like the lobby isn't actually loading up properly. Okay, it looks like we have a little bit of a glitch on the lobby, so we might have to restart it before it even really gets going. Okay, so give me a sec. Oh wow, the game isn't even allowing me to do anything with it. So I'm just going to close it quickly, restart it, and get everyone back up and running. Okay, so while I do that, let's just run through the rest of this. The pure race pace analysis, as I said, top 3 sectors of each person put together, and to get a pure lap time, I'm TJ with the fastest pure lap time of 119.315. Remember that the fastest laps was 118.552, so that doesn't look entirely right. I must actually check what's going on there. Sebi in second and Jarvis in third. And then finally, a consistency rating. We have IMTJ, the most consistent, with humid only 5 thousandths behind. So that was how everything ended at the end of the last race. I'm going to try and figure out why F1 2021 is being such a pain, and I will be back very shortly. How's it, Hypex? Yeah, no, the lobbies are ridiculously broken, especially since the last update, as you said. Unfortunately, I'm the host, so if I drop out and re come in, it will drop everyone else out as well and create even more problems. So we've had to re-host entirely. The guys are rejoining, so we should be underway quite shortly. Yeah, yeah, it's a pain. Alrighty, sorry about the delay. We have finally gotten the lobby up and running, so I will be crossing to the track as soon as we're done with this. Driver standings at the moment: Hewitt leading the championship still with 82 points, Jarvis in second place with 75 points, losing the first position to Hewitt after that last race. IMTJ in third place, 58 points. Venom, another of the point 1 guys, obviously point 1 being Jarvis and Venom. A couple of other guys here, Mello, and we are actually joined today by Suffix, who is also a point 1 driver. So point 1 doing quite well there. Mars from Viben and Human and Mars being the two Viben drivers. Mars up 4 positions from last week, so a good jump there. 28 points on par with Sebi. But of course, doesn't have to worry about Sebi anymore. Dark Fox, 23 points, not having a good season so far, dropping 3 places after last week. So not a good run for him. Milo in with 15 points in 8th place, G-Funk in 9th, and Porty in 10th. KQ Microstatic is joining us again today, so it'll be good to see whether he is able to make up some ground. 8 points at the moment, but only 2 races in. Boosted isn't going to be able to join us for a while. Unfortunately, he has broken his arm. Marcus is joining us once again today, so we should have a good race on our hands and really looking forward to it. As far as the teams are concerned, Aston Martin leading by virtue of having an extra 3rd place finish. You can see there the podiums, 2 firsts for each Aston Martin and Mercedes, 2 seconds for each Aston Martin and Mercedes, and then Aston Martin having that extra 3rd place and 1 extra race. So Aston Martin and Mercedes tied on points, 110, but Aston Martin ahead on countback. Williams in 3rd place, 70 points, quite far behind already, but it's not out of the question for them to pull back. Alpine in 4th place, Alfa Romeo in 5th, McLaren in 6th, climbing 3 places after last week, AlphaTauri in 7th, Red Bull in 8th, and Haas in 9th. Ferrari with no points and only 4 races, only 4 appearances by their drivers. So we're racing at Spain today. As I said, this is a track with many interesting twists and turns and elevation changes, and you'll see that as soon as they bring up the red and black representation of the track. You can see the elevation right there. This is a nice leisurely left-hander, and it goes into the horrible left-hander that I was talking about. 3 sectors as per usual, 2 DRS zones, and quite a lot of elevation, which you'll see now. You can see how diagonal the track actually appears to be, and it really feels it. So that is the track. Let's cross to the game itself and see how the guys get along. Just double checking all of my tools are working as they should. And let's get to it. Right, sound should now be up. Welcome to the race, or the quali at least. Yes, we are at Spain. We were supposed to be in Azerbaijan this week, but unfortunately, due to load shedding, we've delayed the season by a week, so that everyone could still have a good run at the championship. Is it raining? It doesn't. Oh, it is raining. So we have a wet quali, which is always a lot of fun. We'll see. Looks like a couple of guys are going to try and set their times on the slick tires despite the beginning of the rain. Dark Fox still on an outlap, so we'll follow him around, see where the heat ducks in. But it looks like the rain is actually picking up quite a lot already. But as I said, we wanted to make sure that everyone had an equal opportunity for the championship, and if we did a race during load shedding, especially with load shedding only lasting a week and only being confirmed for a week, we were concerned that that would then end the championship with a situation where first and second were separated by the points from one race, and it's just more fair this way. So we are a week behind, but at least the championship is going to be fair, and then not going to be any asterisks on the championship. No FIA decisions to influence the championship here. Let's get that track map up and running so we can see what's going on, and the sector times. Dark Fox setting a good first sector on those medium tires, obviously not too affected by the rain. It does look like the rain has died down a little bit, so let's see how people do. Unfortunately, I have recently had to redo my computer, so that looked like that Williams did get a little bit in the way of Dark Fox on his lap, which was unfortunate. And that Williams has found the wall. Going on to the second DRS area. And obviously that rain making it a little bit more treacherous than usual, but that corner is very easy to lose it going into as well. G-Funk setting no lap time so far and ending up going into that wall. He may have actually been on a fast lap, which means he was not required to get out of the way of the Dark Fox, so the Dark Fox will have to go again on those medium tires. Generally with medium tires you will go for 2 laps in a row anyway, so this might still be part of the run plan for Fox. Up into turns 1, 2 and 3. This is a nice flowing section of the track if you get it right, and it looks like Fox has got it quite right. Gets onto the curb on the exit and getting ready for turn 4. This is a nice sweeping curve. It does feel like it tightens, but it actually opens up as you head down into the downhill section, as you can see there, right onto the edge of track limits. But that is exactly what you need to do there. This is that horrible left-hander that I keep referring to, and up towards the second DRS zone. This is where that Williams lost it, but not this time. You can see a medium tire hanging out on the left-hand side of the track in the gravel trap. And there is a lockup by Dark Fox as he goes into that hairpin. It is a very tight hairpin, and in the 2021 season of the real Formula 1, they have actually reprofiled that corner. Hopefully we get the reprofiled track with the next game, which is likely to come out sometime in August. So Dark Fox coming through the horrible chicane that no one likes at the end of the track. That was created there just to make the track a little bit more technical. Most people feel like it's not actually necessary, and it does actually break up the track quite badly and break the flow. That is actually still there on the real track. There were 2 reprofiled corners, if I remember correctly, one of them being the hairpin, but I cannot for the life of me remember where the other was. That is that KQ Microstatic? KQ Microstatic on the middle of the track. He has been having game issues, and that's a disqualification because the game believes he is actually there. He has been having issues with the game over the last couple of days, and I believe that's why he dropped out there. Fricky coming across in 9th place, 121.240. Now what we're going to be seeing here is probably a little bit of an effect of the rain itself. As the rain gets a little bit heavier, wets the track a little bit more, it's more difficult to keep your tires up to temperature. It creates a surface that's smooth as opposed to the aggregate of the asphalt itself, and that smooth track means that you don't have as much grip coming out of the corners. Going into the corners, it's easier to spin out, it's easier to spin up, and you end up not being able to go as quick. So there's a good chance that every time that we see here is likely to stand unless the rain stops at some point and the track starts drying up. So Humid in first place, Humid from Vibe and Esports for 1:16.987, a very good time compared to the others. Zeal in second place. Ooh, that Haas getting very close to that wall there. Zeal in second place with a 1:17.353. So you can see that is quite a bit off the leader's time, 0.365 off. That's a big gap of time in quali. Venom in third place from Point One Esports, 4.68 back. Jarvis in fourth place, also from Point One, 1.2 seconds back. So you can see that the times are quite different, and there is a good chance that is because of the rain, because the Humid maybe got out a little bit earlier than the others and managed to put a lap in without having to deal with the wet conditions. Suffix and Potty are both on laps. Let's see where they are. Suffix coming into the third sector, so we'll follow him around and see how his third sector goes. He is on intermediate tires, so not likely to set the timing screens alight, especially not by going into the gravel, although he may be on an outlap, which may be why he was going so slowly and possibly just got out of the way for the Williams of IMTJ. Yeah, this looks like a ramp-up lap on the intermediate tires heading out, so we'll follow him around on this lap as he heads down towards turn 1. Long run down to turn 1 from the start finish line. into turn 1 not taking a lot of curb, but that might be because the curbs are very slippery at the moment with the wet. Looks like IMTJ has spun around a little bit. Let's see what tires he was on. He is on the soft tires, so those soft tires not gripping up properly as expected in the rain. But let's see how Suffolk goes on these intermediate tires with the worsening conditions. Down into this downhill left-hander, and off the track once again, possibly pushing a little bit too hard, and the front's just not biting in, and so he goes wide once again. Botti is coming down to the same spot on those soft tires, just about manages to keep it in the track limits. Going around this section, you can see how slowly he has to take that, and that is because with the wet and the low traction around that corner anyway, you have to be very careful. Very aggressive curb usage there coming up the hill and down towards the hairpin. Through the hairpin he goes, looks nice and clean. This is another place where it's so easy to spin out, but keeping it going in the right direction around the long radius corner. Oh, just a little wide there, and that invalidates his lap. So it was looking like a clean lap up until that point, if not a particularly fast one. You can see the back end does not want to stay in, and you can also see how shiny the track has actually gotten now. You can see the water getting worse and worse, and those intermediate tires that Suffolk is on will very quickly start becoming the tire of choice. Humid is actually out on a lap on the intermediate tire, so we will follow him around as he comes down to the bottom of the hill and up towards the horrible left-hander, which I'm going to keep calling it that until they fix it, which obviously is not going to be now, it's not going to be this year. But yeah, second DRS straight down towards the hairpin. Let's see what Humid is doing as he comes through. 6.2 seconds back, so 6.2 seconds the difference between Humid's time on the soft tires and his current run on the intermediates. It is a massive amount of time difference, and you can see how people... that was a great save by Humid. Well done. I honestly thought we were going to see Humid into the wall for a change, but he's not happy to oblige, unfortunately. But let's see what he can do on the second lap on the intermediate tires. That first lap, 11 seconds down. It is an incredible amount of time that you lose on those intermediate tires. I really do need to figure out what's happening with the ghosting that you're seeing there. Unfortunately, I've got a whole bunch of settings on that I'm not used to. As I said, reset my computer, reset it up from scratch. Had to replace my old computer after it got hit by load shedding, and with all the settings on, ultra graphics, it looks like there's some sort of ghosting issue. DRS now disabled. That means that the track is as wet as it needs to be for those intermediates. Suffolk's retiring from the session, people realizing that they're not going to be able to go really much faster on these wet conditions. It's possible that Humid is just out there having some fun in the wet to try and get himself used to it in case the rain does come halfway through the race. It's always good to get some wet running in. And I think that might be what Humid is doing, since there's no chance of him really improving his time. There's no real chance of anyone beating his time either. So that time that he did early on in the session will stand, and Humid will be on pole with a 1:16.987. I'm just trying to re-invite KQ quickly. That invite is sent, just so that if his game does crash again, he is able to get back in, at least to retire, if nothing else, before he has to try and figure out what exactly has caused his game to freak out entirely. So 3¼ minutes to go until the end of quali. Some of the guys are banging around on those intermediate tires. As I said, it's good practice. It looks like Humid is getting his eye in. It is possible that there is going to be wet during the race. Unfortunately, as commentators, we don't get that information. You're welcome, KQ. We don't get that information, unfortunately. So it's unfortunate, but it does mean it's more interesting for us. We don't know when the rain is going to come, and so when it does come, we can be exalted and jubilant and all the rest of it, while the drivers curse the weather gods of the F1 game. So Humid still going around, Zeal going around on those intermediate tires, Venom going into the pits now, IMTJ out on the intermediates, Mello, Marcus, Fricky in the pits, not looking like he's looking or doing anything more. Deadpool and Potty both out on those intermediates as well. So it does look like quite a few people are using this as a little bit of an intermediate practice run. That looks like Dark Fox? No, Mello. Mello has spun in third sector, so a couple of people looking like they might actually need that practice on those intermediate tires as Humid drifts around that corner. But manages to get it back under control. In the meantime, we also have a McLaren of Deadpool struggling in the wet as well. So quite a few people struggling with the wet, especially that corner, both of them spinning out at that corner. That's just off the hairpin. There's that left-handed kink. And that kink can be very, very difficult to get through properly. Let's see Marcus. This kink over here, if there we go. So of course you're coming out of the hairpin, which obviously means that you're going to have to accelerate a little bit more carefully. It is a very low traction zone, so that hairpin can cause issues. And then you're accelerating out of there and immediately into that left-hand kink. That left-hand kink, you have to take so much of the... Ooh, we caught a spin and a reset. So that left-handed kink, you have to take so much curb on it to be able to get a good time, but at the same time you have to be so careful not to actually give it too much and spin out going over it. It is obviously a little bit of a bump, and that can unsettle the car. Just reminding the racers that there are no resets allowed in the league. Quali, I'm not going to be too harsh on them. There are a couple of newer people who might not know the reset rule, but just reminding the guys that there are no resets allowed in this league, and you do need to manually get your way around and get back underway. So Humid's still out on those I think I'd call them recon laps really. 3 minutes left, that is the end of the session. There was that kink once again. You can see how easy it is to lose the back end around there. Drifting around a couple of the corners, Humid definitely pushing that car as far as it can possibly go, finding the limits of the car and the wet. Doesn't look like it's full wet conditions. This does look like it is still intermediate conditions. So Humid just pushing a little bit harder than he necessarily has to, and gracing us with a little bit of a spin crash and almost hitting Mello in the process. One of the fun things with the F1 game. And there we have the final results. So Humid in first place, Seal in second, Venom in third, Jarvis in fourth, IMTJ in fifth place. Mello, Marcus, Dark Fox, Fricky, and Deadpool top 10. Potty, Suffix, G-Funk, and KQ Microstatic the top 14. KQ Microstatic once again leaving the game. I can only assume that his game has crashed once more. But we will see once we get to the beginning of the race. Okay, so we are waiting for players. Still waiting for players. I think this might be EKQ that the game is trying to wait for, although he did leave the session. It might still pick him up on the quali board and might be waiting for him, but we'll see shortly. Hopefully whoever is waiting for manages to load in soon. Okay, so it looks like we have a timer to start. Not sure what exactly is going on, if that's a timer to the waiting for players period, or if that's a timer to start. Nope, looks a timer to start. So let's see how the start goes. 5 red lights and away we go. Not too long a wait as Humid gets off the line fairly well, but Zeal gets an even better exit out of phase 2 of the start. Jarvis and Venom right behind, 3 wide into turn 1. That's never going to work, but it looks like everyone has managed to get through. That was very good racing by all 3 of them, and well done not to spin anyone else. Humid still in front, Jarvis in second, and Zeal in third. Looks like we have someone going slowly but not spun out. Well done getting everyone through those first 3 corners as we now go through the right-hander and towards the downhill left-hander that heads into this weird little technical elevation bit of the track. A little bit of contact there, you can hear it but couldn't quite see it as Humid goes into the horrible left-hander for the first time, and that right-handed kink. Everyone, oh, that is the Dark Fox in the background and Fricky, both of them coming cropper with that horrible left-hander. Fricky ending up completely out of the race, and the Dark Fox looking like he is missing an end plate on the left-hand side of his car. So we already have a virtual safety car. That's going to be good for the Dark Fox. It means that people are not going to be able to get too far ahead of him, but unfortunately Fricky's first outing with us ends in the wall of that horrible left-hander. Okay, so we can see people, looks like they are actually almost underway already. Obviously you have to keep your delta positive as you go around here. I don't know if that's actually happening. This virtual safety car does appear to still be out, but the guys do look like they are pushing quite hard. I don't believe that the virtual safety car is actually still out on their side, so this is quite weird. I just want to double check something quickly. Okay, back in, the virtual safety car has now disappeared, so it looked like it was just a faulty graphic, not as faulty as the ARL F1 race this last weekend. Those graphics were properly messed up, but you know, Cody's is happy to oblige us with its own little share of graphic glitches, but we are back underway. 2 laps in, 1 virtual safety car so far. A Haas lost on the first lap out of that horrible left-hander. And I'll give you a track number as soon as I manage to get the track map to actually load. Unfortunately, the secondary machine that I'm using is it's a dog, honestly. So I'm still trying to get the track map up and running as Humid goes fastest with a 121 lap time. That is on the second lap, so that is a more representative time, but I think the start of that lap was still being affected by the virtual safety car, so we will see those times tumble. On to lap 3, DRS should now be enabled, and Humid is going to try and keep that 1 second difference between him and Jarvis for as long as possible. Zeal, on the other hand, is going to be trying to keep within that 5/10 gap to Jarvis and will be putting pressure on him all the way through, and especially coming into the second DRS zone. The second DRS zone at the top of the hill through the horrible left-hander, this one over here, around the kink, and then you have a nice, almost full-speed right-hander going to the top of the hill, and there's the DRS. So DRS wide open for Zeal. Jarvis does not have it, so Zeal will get nice and close, but that is a fairly short straight, not quite long enough to try a move, but Zeal will be a little bit closer. But this is where the problem with this track comes in. This section here is so technical and so windy, and the dirty air affects you so much that you actually end up falling back quite badly. And you can see when we looked at the end of the straight, Zeal was at 4/10 back. He's now 7/10 back because of that section of the track. Humid 119.795, so there it is. There is a more representative lap time. Zeal 7/10 back at the beginning of the straight, 7.5/10. 2.5 seconds approximately is the, or 2.5 tenths approximately seems to be the DRS difference at the moment. There is a good chance that there were different ERS deployments through that section, but let's see whether Zeal can do better. He has pulled away from Venom behind, but Venom is under a lot of pressure from Mello in the Alfa Romeo. So Venom in the second of the Mercedes, Venom the second of the 0.1 guys, under pressure by the third of the 0.1 guys, Mello in the Alfa Romeo. So let's see if Mello can make a difference over here as they go through this section of the track, the horrible left-hander, that weird kink, and then onto the DRS zone. Mello 4/10 back as they go onto that second DRS zone. Let's see what he can do. 3.5 tenths, so not too much of a gain there. Oh, but Mello loses it coming out of the hairpin, and that looked like a reset as well. So we are going to have a chat to the guys at some point in the next couple of races, just to remind them all that the reset to track is not available to them either in quali or the race, due to the fact that it then preserves your tires in a way where you shouldn't be preserving your tires, basically. Okay, so Marcus, the closest battle at the moment. Zeal actually is quite close to Jarvis as well, going through the first couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. He is very close there as they head down towards turn 4. It's difficult to follow through these corners. You have so much less downforce, and it does mean that your braking just isn't as effective. Your turning just isn't as sharp. Marcus looks like he has spun. Marcus has definitely spun. It looks like he still has most of his front wing available to him. So Marcus has spun, but is able to get underway without too much damage, it doesn't look like. So Marcus is now back underway. Zeal in third place. Definitely the closest battle at the moment, so we will stick on board with him. G-Funk getting 3-second penalty for track limits. So as we stand, we have Humid out in front, 1.8 seconds basically ahead of Jarvis. Zeal right behind Jarvis, 3/10 back going into the final chicane, so he will have a good look at the back of that Mercedes as they come down the main straight. Venom in 4th place, 1.6 seconds back. TJ 1.2 seconds further back. Potty 2.2 seconds. Mello 4.6 seconds after that spin. KQ Microstatic 6.4 seconds. A G-Funk looking at the back of KQ Microstatic, but having that 3-second penalty already, 6/10. Marcus 2.5 seconds back, but going into the pits, so he must have picked up a little bit of damage that wasn't quite visible. Marcus pitting now, Suffix pitting as well, nothing to lose that far back, so maybe trying an alternate strategy to try and get some sort of undercut going. Deadpool in the McLaren is climbing now past the pitters, and Dark Fox after that initial moment out of the horrible left-hander is now in 11th place after those pit stops. Alrighty, Zeal is now Head of Jarvis after that little section of the track. I missed the pass, unfortunately, and it looked like the graphics did as well. It didn't look like it was really a passing corner, but unfortunately I was looking at the track map, and it looks like Jarvis is very quickly trying to take that position back as they go down the main straight with DRS. This should be an easy enough pass. There it is. You can see how powerful the DRS is here if you are close enough, and the two of them switch positions once again. Jarvis in second place, Zeal in third, 2/10 behind, so Zeal will be pushing. You can try a pass on this next little half a straight down into turn 4, and Zeal looking at the outside line around that corner. Let's see if they still come through here side by side, mostly side by side, going into turn 5 down the hill into the kink of 6 and the horrible left-hander, which is turn 7. Zeal takes a decent line there, a little bit more of a turn on his run, so he might have lost a little bit of time there, but onto the second DRS zone. Deadpool has now left the session. That looks like a a disconnect and a little bit of contact there between Zeal and Jarvis. As Jarvis doesn't feel, I don't think Jarvis realized that Zeal had actually dived down the inside there. Zeal backing out, both of them keeping going, but Zeal would have probably thought he deserved that position, but he will obviously have another run onto the pit straight. We see Humid in the Aston Martin 3 seconds ahead now, controlling the race once again as the guys behind him fight it out. Venom is now part of this battle as well, and INTJ getting a little bit closer to the battle as well. Zeal 3/10 behind, Venom 5/10 behind at the end of the straight. Alrighty then, back onto turn 7, that horrible left-hander through the kink of 8. Looks like a much better line by Zeal this time, not taking as much of a turn, taking a lot of the curb through that uphill right-hander of 9 onto the straight, looking at the inside, deciding against it, popping back into the line and braking in time right on the gearbox of Jarvis ahead. There was that little bit of oversteer, which is so typical of that corner, but holding it straight, keeping it close, and still 4/10 behind even after that little move. This is great racing. This is very close racing. Sector 2, we have a spinner that is G-Funk, unfortunately, out of the race. Safety car comes up. Now, this is an interesting position for people to be in. Mello and everyone further back are now able to take a pit stop, and it looks like Porty was the first that was able to take a pit stop. So Porty taking advantage of the safety car, going into the pits, getting on another set of medium tires. Let's see how many stops he's actually had. This is his first stop, so he will have to stop once more before the end of the race. Mello coming in to do a pit stop as well. It looks like KQ Microstatic is keeping going without a stop. Mello coming in, putting on medium tires. If he can make those last to the end of the race, that will obviously be a good strategy call. Even if not getting that safety car pit stop out of the way means that he will be able to he's made up probably about 10 seconds in pit stop time by pitting early if he was going for a 2-stop race. Marcus coming in as well to the pits, so Marcus feeling like those hard tires are just not working for him, probably looking to swap onto something else. I would probably personally have kept onto the G-Funk crashed out Hypex on, I think it was the DRS straight. I unfortunately don't remember exactly where he went out, but G-Funk went out, brought out the full course safety car. Suffix is keeping going. Deadpool is also keeping going. So we... Oh. Well, okay then. That's quite interesting. Apparently I'm not allowed to watch the race that I'm the host for. Oh, I'm so sick of this game. So interestingly enough, it looks like the session is still going. The session is still going. I can still see the cars making their way around on the telemetry. I can see a Mercedes in front, so it looks like Jarvis and Humid have switched places. Zeal is still in third position. Venom, I think, would probably be the Mercedes in fourth. So I can see the guy still going around, but I can't actually rejoin the race to watch. um, Let me see if I can get something else up on the screen at least. This is one of those weird situations where nothing makes sense. Now I don't want to leave the session because obviously if I leave the session then it drops everyone else. I don't actually know what to do. Okay, let me just see if I can get something running that we can at least see what's going on, even if we can't watch the race itself. So it kind of looks like we've had another safety car going on. Everyone appears to have bunched up at 12, so we might still be on the same safety car as we were just now. Of course, as I said, we can't see it right now, but I will get something up very shortly. I have found a way to put up a map, a trap map, so we can follow things around. So apparently the safety car might have bugged out as well because it's, kick the host and all the rest of it. Although it does look like guys are managing to start getting going again, so possibly not. No, the safety car is definitely still out, according to the telemetry. So I think this has actually bugged out, and we might have to rehost a 25% race instead. Alrighty, so as usual, technology has let us down. Cody's has let us down, and we are going to have to host. We will rehost a 25% race, just to see how things go. I'm going to try and check what the standings were at the end of that little section, and I will then actually basically try and reset those standings. Yeah, and that looks like the session has died. So give us a sec, we will be right back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Unfortunately, this is the hazard of playing a mass-produced game. We will be right back. Alrighty, we are back and we are just waiting for people to ready up. We are going to go in 1 minute. We have set a custom grid and let's see how the guys do. Thank you for being patient, the 5 of you that are watching across the various platforms. We very much appreciate you and your patience. As I said, unfortunately, with this being a mass-produced game with a different number on every year, it does have its issues. So let's try and get a session. G-Funk is rejoining. That is perfect. Let me just see where he needs to go. He was in 8th position, so let me put him back there. That's weekend structure. Grid editor. Alrighty. Okay, so the guys should be readying up. And let's get this underway. So what we've done is we've allowed them free choice of tires. So we've given them free choice of tires. Obviously, everyone will be trying to set up their, get their setups back up and running, choose their tire strats. Hopefully no one presses to start before 12 minutes past 8, which is what I've asked them to do. And then we will be able to get underway once again. At least we hope so. So for those of you who missed what happened just now, we had a safety car come out as G-Funk spun out, but unfortunately the safety car caused an issue with Deadpool's game, which then kicked me out. And so we had a safety car that never ended. I could see the telemetry running around, but unfortunately we couldn't actually re-spectate, and so we have had to re-host. We are now going to be running a 25% race. The weather was clear dry during the last race, so we're going to stick to that. So it's going to be a 25% race, 17 laps, start to finish, 1 mandatory pit stop. I don't remember how the tire wear is around this track and whether it might push them a couple of people into a very aggressive 2, or if it is going to be a one-stop race for everyone, but we will see very shortly. We have less than a minute to go. We should be readying up right about now. So hopefully get to see some racing. Once again, it will be a standing start because there's no other option. So we will have a standing start. We'll see this as a red flag. And we are going to be resuming very shortly. And there it is, the first of the starts, right on time. So thank you to everyone for being patient, staying off those start buttons until everyone has an opportunity to pick their setups, set their tire strategies, set their fuel correctly, and 10 seconds to lights on, at least, not lights out, because that obviously has a randomized delay. Everyone is in, Humid in first, Jarvis in second, Zeal in third. Let's see how they go this time. Humid, once again, not getting a great start. Jarvis making the most of it, getting alongside him very early on. Zeal keeping his distance. IMTJ also quite far back. Venom looking like he's going to fight with IMTJ as they go into the first corner. 2 wide, quite a few of them. Everyone gets through a little bit more cleanly than they did last time. Zeal and Humid fighting it out. That looked like Jarvis off the track and into a gravel trap. That is really unfortunate for Jarvis. Not a great start this time, but it has led to Humid and Zeal fighting it out at the front. Mello is losing some positions, but managing to hang in there now. Fricky, starting in last place, has actually made his way up to 9th place, so that's 4 places up. Well done to him on this restart, taking the most of the second opportunity he has been given to prove his worth on the track. There was a report that he may have been nudged on that last start, so he is definitely making up for it now, although he has been passed by... Oh, Jarvis has retired, and that looked like a voluntary retirement looking at where he has gone off. So Jarvis possibly getting a whole bunch of floor damage in that restart, and it's a virtual safety car once again as we go through Sector 3 on lap 1. Jarvis retiring as he goes through corner number 7. Not entirely sure what happened there. I'm sure we will hear about it after the race, but unfortunately that is the end of Jarvis's race, and it looks like there was some sort of incident with Humid that led to Jarvis getting a lot of damage in those first sections. And that is Jarvis out, and G-Funk has now crashed out as well. It looks like G-Funk has crashed out going through turn 16, and that's unfortunate for G-Funk. Deadpool is now in 11th place in the pits, so may have picked up damage somewhere. It's quite an eventful first couple of laps. We are now on lap 2. Guys right at it once again. Humid out in first place, Zeal in second, IMTJ third, Venom in fourth, Bello in fifth position. Marcus is 6th, 3/10 back, so Marcus is going to have a good look at the gearbox of that Alfa Romeo when it comes time for DRS. Frickie in 7th, well done to him on this restart, already up, what is that, 6 places from the start of the race. Suffix in 8, Potty in 9th, Dark Fox in 10th, not having a great race, but he isn't entirely comfortable at this track. We do know that 120.098 the fastest lap so far, so still a lot to come from Humid. We saw him do a 119 in the previous run. There's Potty with a 119.466, so a lot of time still to come for the leaders, but it may have been a symptom of that virtual safety car being near the start of this lap. Potty now passing Suffix with that fastest lap as they head through turns 1, 2 and 3, but out in front Humid is holding off Zeal, but there will soon be DRS to play with for the Red Bull driver as they go through turn 7 and up that horrible little left-hander, up the hill, through the kink, around the practically full speed at this point. Obviously they have half as much fuel as they had previously, so you will be able to push that corner a lot harder, and Zeal trying to close up the gap to Humid. Humid not being able to pull off as much of a gap as he was able to in the last run, so he may have gotten a little bit of damage from that altercation with Jarvis. So Humid now setting a 118.907. That's a little bit better and more what we expect. Doing a little bit of weaving to try and get Zeal out of the slipstream, taking a lot of curb on that entrance there. Not entirely settled through turn 2, but managing to make it work. 5/10 between him and Zeal as they go onto this next little bit of the track. Just trying to refresh my telemetry as it's not working properly as they head down towards turn 5. Zeal still 5/10 back, looking at the back of that Aston Martin and not wanting to be behind it too much longer. Looks like they are both on the soft tires. Yes, indeed, both on the soft tires, and those soft tires will be overheating quite quickly. We have a yellow flag in sector 2, possibly Suffix going off track just a little bit, so nothing too much to worry about as Humid and Zeal close up to 4/10 of a second. In the meantime, Venom is looking at the back of the Williams of IMTJ, 5/10 between the two of them, so two very close battles, 2 of them on softs, 2 of them on mediums. The soft tire runners running a little bit faster than the medium tire runners, 2 seconds between the soft tire runners at the front and the medium tire runners behind them, but it is now 7/10 of a second between Zeal and Humid as Zeal will get DRS once again. Zeal getting out of the slipstream, possibly trying to cool his tires a little bit, and looking at the back of that, you can see the heat coming off that Aston Martin in the form of the heat haze. That will be affecting the effectiveness of the front wing of Zeal, but also the tire temperature of those front tires especially. They will start overheating, they will start lacking some grip, and you will start seeing Zeal getting more and more understeer and having to pull back a little bit further each lap to try and get some cool air over those tires. So off they go down into that bottom little section there, and we have Deadpool DNFing hard tires, possibly not getting the grip as they go into sector 3, and a safety car is now out. Zeal will be grateful for that, getting some cool air onto those tires, but at the same time it is a double-edged sword because it means that IMTJ and Venom on those medium tires are going to be able to pull up. So if Humid and Zeal have been pushing as hard as we expect that they have been, with how close they were going, how punchy they were being, there is a good chance that these two have used quite a lot of their tires, and that means that those medium tire runners behind will be able to push that a little bit harder with a little bit less tire wear. The field still, ooh, there we go. Humid and Zeal deciding to come into the pits early to get rid of those soft tires. Let's see who else takes that gamble. INTJ and Venom going round again. It was way too early to pit on those medium tires. Mello pitting as well. Fricky and Potty also pitting. So all the soft tires runners pitting already. Dark Fox coming into pit as well. It'll be interesting to see which tire he actually puts on. Suffolk's deciding to keep going. So Dark Fox, let's see, the only one of the medium runners to come into the pits. Will he be putting on another set of mediums? Oh no, that was Mello putting on that extra set of mediums. Oh, a very slow stop there. Soft tires, 11 laps to go. It is doable, but he will have to do some tire preservation. Obviously, the safety car will be out probably long enough for him to catch up to the back of the safety car train. But that is going to be a massive gamble by Dark Fox, hoping to get track position and then defend from there. I do believe the medium tires runners who are up in front are going to have to pit at some point still, and then the rest of the guys that haven't pit or that have pit, they are all on the medium tires, unless I'm very much mistaken. You know, Dark Fox is the only one currently on soft tires, so that was either a very gutsy strategy call, hoping to make it to the end of the race on those soft tires with track position, but this is a situation where if he doesn't get that track position very quickly, if he doesn't manage to make those tires last, he is going to feel it at the end of the race as he comes towards the end of the race, and everyone else with those medium tire runners who have been on the medium tires from the beginning, they will probably pit somewhere around laps 8 to 11, I would probably say, would be the best time for them to pit, and then they will be incredibly rapid. Low fuel, soft tires, not many laps to go, they can push as hard as they want. They are going to be an incredible threat to Dark Fox if he does manage to get past the medium runners who did pit, them being Humid, Zeal, Fricky, Potty and Mello. Alrighty, Dark Fox has caught up to the back of the train, so there is a very good chance that the safety car goes in at the end of this lap. We will ride on board with Humid. Humid not getting a good getaway either of the two standing starts, so let's see if he can do better on a rolling start behind the safety car. Safety car in this lap, there's a confirmation. So early giving the confirmation, even before that hairpin, so it will be interesting to make sure that everyone manages to get through that hairpin. It's so easy to spin out, although the safety car does decrease the amount of power you have in your car when it is coming in. It is a rather frustrating feature of the F1 2021 game, where it's almost like a pit limiter is put on when the safety car is going to come in, possibly to try and force people to slow down far enough for the safety car to get into the pits and not cause any accidents. But it is very frustrating because whatever tire warm-up you have to do, you can't do it, especially on those medium tires. Those guys are going to be suffering. Dark Fox is going to be wanting to make the most of this restart. The guys are away. IMTJ getting a good restart, Venom getting a good one as well, Marcus not so good, but Humid looking at the back of the AlphaTauri now, not close enough to get in there. Marcus leaving enough space anyway. That was a good move by Marcus just to leave a little bit of space for Humid in case he does try and stick a nose in there. Zeal in 5th place, Fricke in 6th, Suffix in 7th, Porty now getting past Suffix as they go down towards turn 4, and convincingly so. Dark Fox has made up 1 position so far against his teammate. So let's see, Mello has dropped quite far back, so I suspect Mello may have gone off track somewhere, and Dark Fox has made up that position. But that means that Dark Fox is only 1 position up, and it was a free position. He needs to get a move on and get past as many of these medium tire runners as possible. Suffix on old mediums at the moment, no DRS for 3 laps after the safety cars, probably only will come out on lap 11 unless I'm very much mistaken. So Dark Fox is going to need to actually use, oh, that is Marcus having spun out going through turn number 12, waiting for the last guys to get past, and off he goes again. Thanks for letting me know, Deadpool. Oh, Humid is out. Humid crashes out in the pits. I am not sure what happened there. I'm sure that is going to be a very interesting thing to look into later. But Humid has now crashed out into the pits and is out of the race. And we have a virtual safety car out. Virtual safety car, probably only virtual safety car because that was actually in the pits and not on track. But that is a massive... Marcus has now retired as well. So... what happened there? Humid crashing into the pits. Marcus looks like it is a voluntary retirement as he pulls into the pits and retires in the pits. Virtual safety car is out, so that does not affect the DRS. It will still come in at lap 11, but this has made Dark Fox's job that much easier. 1 of the new tire runners out already. Dark Fox on those soft tires now only has 6 positions to make up to get into 1st place, and 3 of those will be free when the pit stops come. And those guys out on those medium tires are going to be cursing this extra virtual safety car. Venom getting a drive-through penalty, so that's even worse for the Mercedes driver out in 2nd place. A drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC. Mello is now spun out as well and lost his entire front wing. Not a good race for Mello, but let's see what happens. Mello has now left the session, possibly... I don't know if he retired first. Hopefully he did. Dark Fox now trying to make a move on Suffix as the VSC comes to an end. It does look like he managed to get a better exit out of the VSC period and is now up into 6th position. IMTJ running in 1st, Venom in 2nd, Fricke in 3rd, Zeal in 4th, Porty in 5th, Dark Fox on those soft tires in 6th position, Suffix in 7th, and Mello in 8th. So IMTJ leading the race at the moment, only half a second ahead of Venom, and with no DRS this lap, but probably DRS next lap. Alrighty, so back onto lap 10 as we come towards the start finish straight for lap 11. We have Venom going in, the first of those medium runners coming into the pits. INTJ deciding he is going to go another lap. Suffix manager deciding he's going to go for another lap. So who was that? Venom looking to do an undercut, and that is given Dark Fox that position as we expected it would. So Dark Fox using those soft tires to get a much better line through the chicane of 1, 2 and 3. That's a Haas going out, that is Flicky spinning out, going through turn 3, and that has given Dark Fox another position up to 4th. Now, as he cuts back very nicely, little bit of contact there, but not too bad. That would probably have to be referred to the stewards afterwards, but Dark Fox getting up into 3rd position. Now starting to make moves on those medium runners who pitted. So Dark Fox has now only got one more person net in front of him. IMTJ is obviously still having to pit. Putty looking at the inside, but deciding not quite enough braking power and enough traction on those medium tires to take a lunge at the Dark Fox just yet. The Dark Fox only really has Zeal to pass before he is in net 1st position, so let's see if he can make up some of that time. He is almost within a second, but will not be close enough going through the DRS detection zone. So not this lap, but possibly next lap. He is going to have to push as hard as he can, dump as much of his ERS as he can safely do, but Putty is right behind him, hoping to make a move, goes down the outside. Dark Fox letting him through, possibly gets behind him once again, and now has to take a little bit of that that thermal degradation pain as he ends up behind Putty once more. Obviously the Dark Fox will have a little bit more traction than Putty, but unfortunately on those soft tires it means that traction is going to go off very quickly as he gets the heat wake off the car ahead of him. Oh, that is a big snap of understeer for Putty, but he does manage to keep it going in the right direction. So Dark Fox will be looking at possibly pushing just a little bit harder. He has managed to create a little bit of a mistake from Putty ahead. Ooh, let's go back to the Dark Fox so we can see what's happening. DRS open once again, but Putty is 1.6 seconds behind Zeal. When Putty did manage to pass the Dark Fox, there was only just over a second difference between the Dark Fox and Zeal. So this battle here allowing Zeal to get a little bit further ahead on those 5-lap-old medium tires. So the Dark Fox will not be wanting to stay behind Putty for much longer. Otherwise, he is going to lose the tire advantage. Those tires are going to go off the cliff, and the medium tires are going to be able to be pushed that much harder towards the end of the race. So this is probably what we are looking at as a podium at the moment. I'm going to call it as Zeal, Putty and the Dark Fox for the podium as things stand at the moment, but anything can happen. If there's another safety car, obviously that will change a lot, and if someone on those soft tires can make up a lot of time before the end of the race, that will obviously make a difference as well. So IMTJ out in front. 12 laps in on those medium tires, only 3 seconds between IMTJ and Zeal, and still with a pit stop to perform. So Zeal has definitely made the most of that safety car that happened earlier and the soft tire strategy. Zeal definitely made the best choice here. Putty in second place has managed to make up some time to Zeal, so it's possible that Putty and the Dark Fox have decided not to fight each other. Dark Fox dropping back a little bit to give Putty a little bit more breathing room, and that means Putty can push that little bit harder to get back up to Zeal. Unfortunately, it looks like he didn't have a good turn 12, and that has put him right back into the clutches of the Dark Fox. 6 tenths between them, and the DRS will open. Let's see, IMTJ now goes into the pits. So Zeal up to first place on track as well, Putty in second, Dark Fox in third, IMTJ still in the pits as Fricky comes through sector 3, and we see Dark Fox and Putty switching positions. So let's see if Dark Fox can make something of this position this time and get a little bit ahead and a little bit up the road towards Zeal. 1.3 seconds the difference at the moment as he goes fastest of everyone in the first sector. Dark Fox has to push as hard as he possibly can, and it looks like he is doing exactly that. Putty hanging on at the moment. Venom getting 1:18.709. So Venom setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Dark Fox still 1.4 seconds back, 1.3 seconds back, trying to catch all the time as he goes onto the second DRS straight. Not quite close enough to get DRS this time, but will be looking for the slipstream. Doesn't look for the slipstream, but still manages to make up quite a bit of time. So maybe dumping quite a bit of ERS to try and catch up and into DRS range. Porty following behind, being dragged along behind the faster soft tire runner, and will be looking to take advantage of the fact that he is going to get a slipstream and DRS and probably have a little bit more ERS than Dark Fox, as Dark Fox goes very wide through there, but will go through the DRS detection zone 1 second back. So we have DRS on Porty and we have a race on our hands. Zeal in first place, Dark Fox only 5/10 back now, not quite close enough this lap as Zeal tries to break the toe and go for a defensive line. Hops back to the ideal line and doesn't quite get it. So those medium tires not giving him as much traction as Dark Fox on the softs, but Dark Fox will be worrying about the fact that there are still 2 laps to go and he is on 8-lap-old soft tires in the dirty air of Zeal ahead and has been in the dirty air of Porty behind as well. So Zeal is currently leading, but for how long? 4/10 behind is the Dark Fox on the softer tires. Porty 6/10 back from the Dark Fox, but on the medium tires as well, but has been doing very well to keep up. IMTJ 15.5 seconds back after that pit stop on the hard tires. Not entirely sure why he's gone onto those, but will definitely make it to the end of the race. Fricky on the mediums, 8-lap-old mediums, 9.4 seconds back, Suffix 3.4 seconds back, Venom 3 seconds back, and Mellow 29 seconds back from Venom. As we come onto the penultimate lap, called that a little bit early, but 5/10 between the Dark Fox and Zeal. Let's see what they can do. DRS wide open onto the penultimate lap now. Dark Fox should get this very easily on the soft tires, should get a better braking line, but doesn't even need to. Past Zeal even before that end of the straight. Porty now 3-second penalty for track limits. That is really unfortunate for him, but he is not out of the race just yet. He is still 15 seconds ahead of IMTJ, so doesn't really have to worry about those 3 seconds too much, but will want to get past Zeal and the Dark Fox and up the road. The Dark Fox now just needs to defend for a lap and a half as they go through turn 7, the horrible uphill left-hander. You'll see Dark Fox trying to use as little of his tires through this section of the track as possible. This is a good place to defend. This is an easy place to defend. Even with the DRS, it is very difficult to pass into this hairpin. So Dark Fox will be trying to go a little bit slow through those sections, preserve a little bit more of his tires as he goes through the kink and into Sector 3. Sorry about the break in commentary, I just had to sneeze and didn't feel like putting you all through that. So through the final corner of turn 16, the Dark Fox gets a good exit, 6/10 up, trying to break the toe, weaving down the straight. He has allowed 1 move that may have counted as 2, but doesn't look like it has negatively affected anyone too much, but may be referred to the stewards a little bit later. Still going through these corners, pushing those tires really hard onto the final lap, and Suffix looks like he has spun going through Sector 3, but is keeping going again. Let's see if he can keep going, or if he needs to pop into the bits. But in the meantime, Zeal is putting so much pressure on the Dark Fox on this last lap. This is the last opportunity to try and get past, and Zeal is making his presence very much known in that Red Bull, in the mirrors of the Alfa Romeo, as they go into turn 7, up the hill, it through that kink, right on the gearbox. They're almost pushing him along. It didn't even look like there were 2 cars there as from that camera angle. Porty trying to get involved as well, looking at various positions. Ifredok going very defensive there through the hairpin, possibly pushing Zeal off a little bit, but that is always going to be... Oh, that is so close. I swear there is contact at every corner at the moment as Zeal pushes as hard as he possibly can on those medium tires, trying to make up for the position loss. And through the last couple of corners onto that pit straight, Zeal does not get a great run through the chicane, and will Porty be able to make it take it as well as they go down the straight? It is so close, but it looks like that is the Dark Fox in first place, Zeal in second, Potty in third. What an end to this race. Such a messed up race in all ways. The lobby messing everyone around, a whole bunch of retirements that no one could have expected. IMTJ coming home in fourth place, Venom in fifth, will probably make it through there. Fricky in sixth, Suffix in seventh, and Mello just needs to make it through this section of the track, which he has had issues through previously, and let's see how they end up. So Mello looks like he has retired at the back of the race. Won't get any points for that, unfortunately. But that was what an incredible end. The Dark Fox making the alternate strategy work, making that aggressive strategy call, and making it work for him. So we have the Dark Fox in first place in the Alfa Romeo, Zeal in second in the Red Bull, Potty in third with the McLaren, IMTJ fourth in the Williams, Venom in fifth with the Mercedes, Fricky sixth, Suffix seventh, and Mello a lap down, it says. Marcus DNF'd, Humid DNF'd, Deadpool DNF'd, G-Funk DNF'd, and Jarvis taken out early on in this race, possibly by Humid. Thank you all for joining us. That was an incredible end to the race, and thank goodness for just being able to rehost and everyone rejoining. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been great to host you guys, and we will see you next time. Enjoy your evening.